Hello, I'm Adam, also known as Factuous from the Redkit forums. Here I will introduce you to the local lighting system in Redkit Red Engine. We will go much in depth about all light parameters we have here. There will be some basic stuff and quite advanced as well. So don't worry if you won't understand everything I say here. And I apologize you about my English. I'm not native English speaker. So let's get started. In Red Engine we have two types of local lights, point lights, which work based on the sphere, and cone lights with spotlights, which works in the field based on cone. And to place them, we choose to just select the layer and right click graphics, point light or spotlight. And you might notice that we have, if you used other game engines like Unreal Engine or Unity Engine or CryEngine, that Redkit doesn't have ambient lights or directional lights. Those can be reparameterized in the area environment, and it will be topic of some later tutorial. Okay, so let's get to the properties of the lights. We have some basic parameters denote set component and object, name tags, so you can get access for code or scripts or whatever, position in the world, rotation, which doesn't change much in the case of point light, and scale, which also doesn't have any role. With spotlight, same, but rotation has some impact. Let's change something. So next are platform mask. This is used for level detail levels of, it's, I guess, self-explanatory. This low, this medium details, this high, this uber. You can use this to optimize your level for weaker PC configurations. We have also Xenon, which is for the Xbox. As we can't create modes for Xbox, this shouldn't concern us much. And the next one is sprite component. You can see sprites because I turned in the filters the visibility of sprites. It's quite useful to have. And you can turn the visibility of the sprite here and change the icon here. Its parameters are first proper light parameters. We have parameter telling if the light is enabled. I guess you can turn it off from the scripts, or it have reason to have possibility of turning it off from here. You have possibility to turn the shadows on. by default it's false. You can change light model to modulative. It's working strangely. I don't have full understanding how it exactly works. Can give some a little bit different effects, but I just stick to normal light additive mode. And the next one is radius. It's size of the light basically. We can change it to something lower. 5. Try to not make it too high, just for the sake of performance. Unless you really need the big light. The next one is brightness. It's also self-explanatory. And try to not go too high with brightness, otherwise tone mapper will go nuts. Tone mapper is something like eye adaptation, post-processing effect. So if we go to crazy value, everything outside the light will turn pitch black. The next one is specular scale. Specular is how shiny are objects, and from the light it's tell how shininess of the surface will be affected by light. Something like this. 0 to like this, by default it's 1. And the next thing is attenuation. And it works pretty much like this. Telling how soft are boundaries of the light. By default it's 3, I guess. Next one, color. Color is pretty much self-explanatory as well. It's used here RGB model of color. Color changes the icon. Alpha doesn't change the light itself. It can change how opaque or how transparent the icon is. So we can lower it. I don't know if it is visible on the video. I'll go to 85. We go under 81, 80, let's say. The icon will disappear completely. And the full opaque value is 255. Then you can change color more natural way by using color picker or swatcher. You can change value, brightness, and hue, and etc. here. And try not go too crazy with colors. Bright red often doesn't look good. Try to lower the saturation to make it more subtle. So that's for colors. The next one is environment color group. So we can change this to something from here. Let's say color, say night, and it will by default it won't change anything, but inside environment areas and its parameters you can change into color groups. Activate it and go here and change how the lights on this particular group change over time of the day. You can modify its color. It will be multiplicating a color of the light. So it will use color multiplication. and here is the value of the color itself. You can turn it off in the night or turn it off in the day. Basically, you can use lights dawn for the night, but it's better to stick to the preset names. So the next one, the parameter, is how to hide distance. It's telling when the light will disappear. It's disappeared completely. It's used for optimization. You can make it disappear quicker or later. If you lower value, it will disappear quicker. Auto hide range tells how smooth is the disappearance. It's using to camouflage disappearance in the light. Set it to 0, it will just disappear in the wire. If you go to higher, it will smooth. And auto hide distance tells when it will disappear completely, and by subtracting 10 from 50 you can say when it starts to disappear. Okay, next one is light clipping. I don't have a clue what it's used for exactly. It's described as left side clip, front side clip, I don't know. Light flickering. It's useful for torches or candles and etc. Here I have the light with flickering. By changing position offset you can make it move more, make the radius of movement higher. You can position change period change. You can change position change period. The higher value, so the movement will be slower, the candles, or faster. It's nuts here. Now, flickering strength is affecting the change of the brightness and position offset as well. If you have flicker strength 0, it will not move. You have to have at least some higher value than 1 to start movement. Flickering period is it flickers more. Flickering period is how fast the effect is. It's 5. Lower value, the faster the effect is. Next one is lighting channels. By default, the only value you turn it on is default. Characters is basically it. By default, is turned off. So when the girl comes near to the light, it won't affect him. I have here pretty bright light, and if it was turned off, it would be obvious that light isn't affecting Geralt. So for every bright, large light, I recommend to turn this on. And for skin, I don't know for what it's exactly used. And custom are for your custom use. So let's say we turn this off. Turn custom 0. Inside meshes we have lighting channels as well, and we can make light work on several particular group of the meshes if we like to. And that's for point light. Next one is off light. Return radius something higher. Okay, it has radius as well. We'll make corner longer. Whoop. Oh, yeah, it's bug. Redkit, at least from my beta version, the last patch from closed beta. So if I set something higher, let's say 15, it have longer cone. And brightness, because they, like in point light, pretty much every property here, the same like in point light. Spotlight specific properties are here. You can see spotlight component, and those are inner angle. Inside this angle, the light have full strength. We lower it. Change. Oh, okay, let's say 25. So you can see that hotspots is bigger. Outer range is the range effect of the light. We set it to 90. The cone will become broader. The softness is how strong, how smooth the transition between 0 and full brightness, how sharp it is, how smooth it is. So the lower value is something sharper, similar to attenuation, but attenuation is based on the distance from light source, based on radius, and this one is based on the inner and outer angle. Projection texture, it can be used for some cool effects. Select some texture, select checker, and some nice effects. Next parameter is projection texture angle. I don't know why it's named angle. It's probably some mistake. It's basically scale of the pattern. So if we lower it, the pattern will be smaller. If we go higher, the pattern will be larger. So you can see, for the rotating pattern of the projected texture, you can just rotate the light. It will be okay. Next are projection texture multiply factor. It's telling how strong about projection texture. You can use colored textures. Let's use this one, and it will. You can have values colorized light. If you have colored texture, it multiplies a value from the texture by value of the light color. As you can see, so let's change it back to something nicer. Here's projection texture multiply factor. It's telling how strong the pattern can be seen. And dim it a bit. Slightly visible. Go higher, even more visible. Going too high will give us strange effects, like this. And add some go negative, get negative effects. So now it's lighter than this. The next one is projection texture biases. It's used for moving pattern. Okay. It's moving. And it's used value of modulo 1, so it doesn't change anything. It's using range of 0, 1. And it's using local space of the light, so it's not moving like this, or like this. Let's see how rotated is light. Moving along those two axes. Shadow quality is pretty self-explanatory. I will stick to the normal if it's good enough. Going higher will now I'm not sure. It can be for the level of detail you have set it in your game properties. I'm not sure. You should check that out. And now we can go to next part, to the shadows. So as I said before, you can turn shadows here. Add shadows to the all object here. But you can manually add shadows to every selected object by using drawable flags, enabling or disabling cast shadows. By default it's on, it's off. And when we are inside object, we can play with different light settings. Shallower relief, nice. I think if we turn the visibility of the mesh, the shadow will disappear, but we can get shadows from invisible objects if we turn this checkbox on. So we have now shadow from invisible object. Can be useful sometimes. The next thing is shadow distance scale. So if we turn it lower, Oops. Shadow will disappear faster. By default it's free. And that's all, I think, from the light about the shadow. And here I described most of the lighting, shadows, no lighting, etc. Light channels I described earlier as well. Here we have shadow distance from the mesh. Can change the default value. The default value is set inside mesh editor. For this house it's 100, but if we, let's say, it's not high enough for us, we can change it. So we'll choose the value we have used here. Unfortunately, can't use our own values. We can take anything here. We can just choose from the presets. And that's all here, I guess. The next one will be using lights inside entity templates. So let's create one template. Like this. And we can add point light and spotlights inside entity template by right clicking here and choosing C spotlight component or C point light component. Oops. Point light component. Move it around here. And we have access to every parameter of the point light here. And move it inside entity. You can add multiple lights. We want to have entity with multiple lights. You can create a candle with light object or torch with light object. So we can place the torch and it have light already. CD Projekt made that kind of entities already. So we have candle light, mesh, and light, that component, and that's, I think, all I wanted to show today. Thank you for your attention. I hope you learned something, and cheers from Poland. Bye.